Yo, my bad. My bad, son. I got 14 jobs, man. 14 jobs.
Sorry about that, we can't hear you guys.
Right.
That's funny.
Right. My bad, y'all. My bad. So, had that mute button down. My bad. So, look. You know what I mean? Once again, welcome to Substantial Sundays. My man, J Cash.
Yes,
you know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
I'm Substantial. Sorry about that audio situation, man. You know what I'm saying? Too many jobs out this joint. We got 13 jobs out here doing our Jamaican shit. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man. Alright, thought you was Hey, shout out to everybody up in here. If it's your first time watching, and even for my regulars, make sure you say peace. Let us know where you're tuning in from, all that good stuff. And yeah, we're gonna get into it. We got a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It's been a lot going on. You know what I mean? Of course, we're going to get into Chappelle. Oh, my God. And then we got some music to talk about. Forgot to even ask you if you got a chance to hear the Common joint.
No, I didn't know
he dropped a new joint. And Lupe dropped a video for his song Cripple, which is one of the dopest songs off that album.
Okay.
And, Sir dropped something. Marcus D just dropped some new instrumental project, which is fire. And then I dropped something. A lot of music.
Bridges beats, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Sick. Yeah.
Yo, good looks. Yeah. So yeah, a lot of music, and then like I said, we're gonna talk about Chappelle. And have you seen Mind Hunters?
Nah, I haven't seen that either.
Yeah, Mind Hunters is dope too. So a lot to talk about, and of course, I know you got some sports updates.
Yeah, I got some sports updates. Saying, Sherm, I'm gonna kick your ass, and you know why. You know why, Sherm?
Yeah. So
yo, you gonna spit 16? Okay.
Right. Sherm,
you don't show up like.
In our group chat all week, Sherm be like, I hope you got them bars ready.
Yeah.
And then Saturday, Sherm hit me up. We on the phone, and like the last 5 to 10 minutes of the conversation, oh man, you know what I forgot, man? I forgot I got this joint, man, tomorrow, man. That joint from like 6 to 10.
That's wild.
Right.
Yeah.
It was like this.
So I'm gonna jump off the top rope and put him in a headlock or something, man. Because that's wild.
Right, man. Yeah, so what was it? Yes, we Johnny Peace. What was it? Miles B, what's going on? Wendy, what's up? Was it Hakuru Wright, peace. DJ Grand, what up? What up? All right, got Jacksonville up in this joint. That's what's up. Stephanie Gale is Steph, y'all. What up? My man Jay Wellington. My man Big True. What up? All right, My Ava. All right, who else we got? That's everybody. I think we got most of them that said something. Ice Killer, what up, man? Welcome back.
Peace.
All right. And, yeah, Maria Flores, peace. What's going on? London up in this joint. London town. All right. And, yeah, I think that's everybody. So, hey, Joshua, peace. What's going on, man?
What's up, man?
Yeah, so I mean, at least Sherm didn't have to spit bars and then not show up. That would have been the super Bama move. You know what I'm saying? You know? Yeah, man. But yeah, so a lot to get into, man. I don't know. It's like, so we say the bars for a little later.
Yeah, you do.
Okay, all right. Warm up to it, right?
And I'm gonna let y'all know. I'm gonna read these bars. I'm not even going to put it over a beat or nothing. That'll be for later.
Right. But, give it time.
Yeah, heard Bridges last night, my man. It slapped. Yeah, definitely.
Yo, good looking, man. I appreciate it, yo. Thanks for listening. All right, but yeah, so I know you ain't heard the Common joint yet. Shout out to Common. Common has a lot going on right now. One, his album just dropped. Two, he just opened up a school in his neighborhood, the neighborhood he grew up in, which is super dope. Congratulations for that. Yeah, man. Black 30 Truth piece was going on. But yeah, man, so the project is solid, man. I've listened to it, I think, twice now. The track with Swiss Beats is fire. And then what's the joint? The joint with Jill Scott, that's the one where he's talking to his daughter. Shout out to one of the fans that reached out to me yesterday on Twitter, man. They was like talking about like when me and Common gonna do a joint. I would love to. I wish it was that simple. You know what I'm saying? Like I got the brother on speed dial. But yeah, man. But yeah, definitely check out
I didn't know either, Jay Wellington. The first time hearing that he had an album dropping was today when I got here.
Yeah.
How many songs on that?
Oh, it's probably at least 12 joints, I think.
At least, okay.
Yeah, it's a decent amount of joints. It's not super long. You know, nowadays a lot of people shy away from doing super long albums.
Yeah, because the promo ain't like it used to be.
Yeah, and then plus what it is too, you know, it's like, what was it? What's homegirl name? Oh my God. Tierra Whack from Philly. She put out an album where it's like the first Instagram album. And what that means is literally every song is a minute, right? It's 15 tracks. So the album is 15 minutes long. And she has a video for each track. But Instagram only allows you to put up a minute. But yo, let me tell you though, the joint is brilliant. What she did, I mean, she changed the game. And then the wild thing is, like, young, you only get paid, like, you could technically do an album with 30-second songs, right? Like a bunch of 30-second songs. And you're going to get paid the same that you would get paid if you did an album with like 3 to 5 minute songs or whatever, right? Because it only takes the first 30 seconds for it to count as a play and for you to get paid.
Yeah, I know
it's a crazy thing
to it, but
right. Yeah,
I'm not feeling that.
Nah, I feel you.
Yeah, I like... I don't want to say pause.
Right.
I was just saying I like a lengthy song.
I like it long.
Right. You know
I like it real long. I like it hard. You know what I'm saying? That's how I like it. That's how I feel. I don't care what they got to say.
I'm glad I caught myself. But yeah, I'm not feeling that. I mean, I get the
the
for
promo
sure through Instagram.
Yeah, and I ain't saying that's why she did it, but like, yeah, it was
sweet. But a minute long.
Shout out to Steph for being the one to pause me. That's why I love you, Steph. Right? You know what I'm saying? So right on cue.
So the album, is it more like electric relaxation circle? Is it more like
electric circus?
Electric circle, or is it more like Water for Chocolate?
That's a great question. I feel like it's more electric circus music wise. Like it's more experimental.
Okay.
And I wouldn't even say it's super experimental. It's, you know, I will say this. The thing I don't like, right? Like, and I'm a dude who, you know, I'm a Common stan, right? Like, I mean, that dude's one of my heroes and stuff musically or whatever, at least from a rap standpoint.
Right.
And so, and obviously I've been influenced a lot by him. But one thing, and I was talking to Sherm about this, I do not like Common over slow beats most of the time, right? Because like, I don't know, certain people ride like over slow beats really well. Common, we don't really hear him ever double time. Like, you know, like that's really not his thing.
He talks a lot.
Yeah, so it's just like, I just don't feel like he's as interesting over slow tracks as he is. That's why I like one of my favorite tracks on there is the joint with Swiss Beats. Like, I feel like, yo, that joint is just, it's fire. I mean, it's more classic Common. And I'm not a person that's kind of like, you know, put people in a box, but I can't front. Like, I heard that joint, I'm like, yeah, that one right there. Okay. You know what I mean? Yes, Jay Wellington. Yes, Common over slow beats is very hit or miss. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, certain people just over a slow track, I don't know, man. Like Royce the 5'9", for example. You put him over a slow track, this dude like does a lot of interesting things, like flow wise and like his timing and how he can switch it up, and with his voice, but not Common so much. And there's a lot of tracks on there that are kind of slow. So there's a few moments where I'm just like, yeah, I love what you're talking about, but I feel myself forcing myself to kind of try to enjoy it because it's him.
Because it's Common.
Yeah. Okay. And so, and this is coming from I'm a super Common fan. You know what I mean?
So if you had to rank the album,
that was a dope slow track. Misunderstood. That was one of his better joints. That was over a slow track.
If you had to rank the album on a 1 to 10 scale, what would you give it?
Off of one listen, I would probably give it more like a 7, right? Okay. But again, I haven't really, like, I've listened to it twice, but my initial was like, this is cool. Okay. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like it's an average Common album. Okay. But yeah, are you a fan of King Los or heard his music? You talking about a dude from Baltimore? That dude is nasty. I've heard a lot of his freestyles. I can't say that I heard an album from him. And yes, a 7 is not bad. It's, you know, like, it's a solid project, and solid for Common is still better than a lot of what comes out. You know what I mean?
I was hoping you would say it was more like Water for Chocolate.
Yeah, nah.
Because I wasn't really a big fan of. And don't get me wrong, he has some bangers on Electric Circuit, but I wasn't as much of a fan of that album as I was like Water for Chocolate. You know, One Day It All Makes Sense. And the joint he put out after Electric Circuit.
Electric Circus. The joint that came out after that that's the joint he did with Kanye.
B.
Yeah, B.
Yeah. Like B slapped hard for me.
Right.
You know what I mean? It was actually Vic who told me, you gotta check B out.
Yeah, B is one that's like top 3 Common album probably.
Right.
Yeah.
Did he do any MC features? Because you mentioned Swiss Beats. No. Wait. I'm lying. What's that one female MC? She covers up her face. She a young chick. Always got her got the little bandana covering her face. The Cop 47 or something like that. Yeah. Something like that. She's on it. That track was cool. I think she is on there, and Jill Scott's on there. Daniel Caesar is on there. It's a lot of singers on that joint. You know what I mean? We talked about Rhapsody's album last week. What was it? Rhapsody joint is definitely one of the better albums that dropped this year. You know what I mean? Definitely loving Rhapsody joint. I gotta get back into it again because there's so much music that's been dropping, dude. Like that week, her album came out, almost like 10 albums. Not even, I wouldn't say 10. At least 5 albums that I was actually checking for dropped in the same week. Right.
So, yeah, man, I was listening to maybe 3 to 4 hours worth of music, like new music that came out within a week, and that was crazy. You know, Finding Forever was dope. Yeah.
I appreciated that album.
Yeah, yes, you're right. I think it was. Yeah. Finding Forever. Yeah, Finding Forever was dope. That's the joint that had the people on there. And that joint was crazy. That's the one with Twilight.
Yeah. I definitely felt that.
Yeah. What else dropped?
I'm supposed to. I'm mad that Sherm ain't here because he hyped it up all week or whatever. Then he don't show.
Right.
But whatever. You know what I mean? Y'all can get these tired bars.
Right. And when you hear a beat that you feel like is fitting, unless you're doing Acapulco, what we doing?
Man.
You spitting the acapella?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Acapella.
Hey, Matthew Baird up in here. What's going on, sir?
What's up, man?
What else dropped? Yo, shout out to Marcus D. Marcus D dropped a new album called Times Remembered. It's a really dope project where he samples mostly like old school, I want to say 30s, 40s style jazz, like old jazz.
That's what's up.
So it has a very unique feel or whatever. Like it doesn't sound like the traditional jazz samples that we hear in hip hop for the most part.
Okay.
But shout out to him. The project's dope. It's killing right now. It already has over 70,000 plus streams without him being featured on any editorial playlist. So for those of you who are artists, you kind of understand what I'm saying. For those who don't understand, basically he's doing 70,000 streams on his new album off the strength of people like y'all listening. So that's dope. And to put it in context, my joint just dropped. Your boy ain't got 70,000 streams yet. You know what I'm saying? So congratulations to Marcus, man. The joint is dope. And thanks everybody who's been checking out Bridges, man. Bridges is doing well. I've been getting hit up a lot, like by folks who appreciate the project, man. So thank y'all. People been pressing me out too about when I upload, because I usually upload my full album as one long track on YouTube. But this time out, I actually separated the joint. I'm pretty sure a couple people got mad because I lost at least 5 subscribers while I was doing that. Because I was like, why am I getting 1 million notifications from Substantial? But yeah, man. And about 70,000 of those Marcus Steve's plays is me on. That's what's up, Johnny. Appreciate the support, man. About the 20s again, so the new age swing music needs to come back. I love that swing in 20s. Yeah, definitely, Wendy. Let's see if we missed any other. I need to check out the new Common album. Yeah. Outkast binge is never a bad thing. You know what I mean?
So anybody else drop this week outside of Common music-wise?
Sir. R&B saying, yo.
I know, Sir.
I love Sir's album, man.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I love all Sir's album. I don't know. I got to listen to it longer. I don't know if it's better than the last one. It's different. I do love the fact that him and Jill Scott got a song together. I ain't see that coming.
Okay.
So that's dope because I'm a huge Jill Scott fan. She just performed here this weekend.
Yeah,
too.
I saw pictures of some friends of mine who actually
went to the Shayla went to the MGM. That's what's up. That's what's up.
Who's also just celebrated her birthday or whatever.
Yeah.
So
that's dope.
Not that she watched, but
right. You know what I mean? Well, at the off chance she does watch,
happy birthday.
Happy birthday. Yeah. You know what I mean? Fernando, favorite track from the Times Remembered album for me is actually the title track, Times Remembered, the last track of the album. And that's partially because, I've known Marcus for a long time. He plays me a lot of these beats before they get dropped. And a good amount of the beats that are on that album, some of them I heard a while ago. Some of them were actually submissions for past Bob Alloy albums and stuff as well. So they're dope, but yeah, I'm glad they came out as instrumentals and stuff. I kind of like those tracks better as instrumental. I love it as a project. But yeah, anybody else other than Sir? And I don't know. I think that's the main. Those are the main ones I was checking for. Was Common and Sir. Okay. You know what I mean? Okay. But yeah, man, I feel like let's get to it, man. Why we really here? Now look, I don't know if y'all been paying attention, Brian, but Dave Chappelle, man, he just dropped this gem. He dropped a crazy joint on Netflix, bro.
1 hour, hit it and quit it.
Man, yo. And the little extra footage is dope, too. Yeah, the epilogue is dope. Yo, definitely check out Sticks and Stones by Dave Chappelle on Netflix. If you are a person who doesn't do well with comedy that really kind of, just toes or just hops over the line completely and don't really care about your feelings, you know what I mean? This might not be for you. But me, on the other hand, I loved every minute of that shit. You know what I'm saying?
It definitely was worth checking out. And I recommend it to anybody. He's catching a lot of flack on social media right now. And honestly, I don't think that he cares. Yeah, see, I heard there was some controversy.
Oh, yeah, we're going to address that.
Yeah, so Dave has gotten to the point of his career where I think he's tired of...
Yep.
I think he's tired of trying to sugarcoat things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's a lot of people out there that don't understand that in comedy, you're going to hear some things that are borderline. And sometimes not even borderline, downright offensive for the sake of being a joke.
Right.
In my opinion, that's the beauty of comedy, because you can relay your point across from a flip side of it. You know what I mean? One of my favorite jokes that he said on there was the one about, you know, you can't say, you know, faggot on, quote unquote, faggot on TV. I hope that didn't get us in trouble anyway. Right. You can't say that, but you can say the word nigga openly. Right. You know what I mean? Where it's acceptable for some, but there's a push that's from, you know, a certain community that's like, this is off limits, that's off limits. And Dave was basically questioning all that. Yeah, so to give y'all context, and this is a spoiler, so sorry, but like, to make the point though, there's a part where Chappelle gets called in while he's doing Chappelle show, and they tell him that, yo, you can't say the F word, you can't say faggot. And he was like, oh, sorry, didn't know, like, won't happen again. And as he's leaving, he was like, one question though, he's like, how come I can't say faggot, but I can say nigger? Without impunity. Well, like, I can say, yeah. And basically what the woman tells him, what the woman at the office tells him is, well, it's simple, like, you know, because you're not gay. Yeah, because you're not gay, that's why you can't say it. And, sorry, John. And ultimately he basically says, he's like, well, I'm also not a nigger. So, right, and that right there, it was a powerful, it's like really, really powerful moment in his stand-up. Yeah. But yeah, man, definitely there's a lot of uncomfortable moments, man. He talks a lot about the Michael Jackson stuff. He goes in on the R. Kelly stuff, which is, oh my God, hilarious. He talks where he talks about the LGBTQ community. That scene is really powerful too, like a lot of what he's saying. And I like how he did it. And I won't get too deep into it, but like, it's not so much about like him poking fun. What he really does is he takes them and breaks them up and talks about the different issues that they have with each other, right? And how they view each other, and how oftentimes the community gets lumped in. And Steph, if you're still here, man, like, yo, I would love for you to chime in. But he talks about how oftentimes they get lumped together and they're riding in this quote unquote car together. But they themselves have their own issues, you know what I mean, that are kind of unique to them, and sometimes gets lost in the whole grouping them all together. I was never offended by his LGBT plus jokes. I appreciate it. Yo, yeah, I feel like it's someone who's very conscious and aware of where we are in the world, right? And acknowledging the community, you know what I mean, is like the first step to better conversations, you know what I mean? And so basically just talking about like, just like certain predicaments which are funny. And so like when he takes that joke to the next part where he talks about race, it's very thought-provoking, man. So I can't recommend it enough. But again, just, you know, if you're a person that gets in your feelings about everything, and I don't think that's most of y'all, because you wouldn't be watching us if you were, you know what I mean? Definitely not. But yeah, man, I think it's definitely worth checking out if you haven't seen it yet. Yeah, Johnny, you safe unless you wanted to elaborate more on it. I'm not going to talk on. I could ask what your favorite jokes were, but we can have that discussion off camera. In fact, we did have a discussion off camera. Yeah. But it's highly recommended. And right now, the controversy behind it, I feel like right now we're at a crossroads between figuring out what is exactly safe, what is exactly off limits, what is censorship. I can't even say that word. What is censorship? Yep, there you go. Okay. What is censorship and what is offensive? Right. You know what I mean? And I think that if you wanted to make a case for anything, you could. Mm-hmm. You know, that's just me. That's my take on it. I can say a lot of things are offensive, period. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. If I really wanted to dig deep enough. So it kind of pushes the envelope about what is fair game and what's off limits. Right. You know what I mean? And I love that about the special because oftentimes we walk around on eggshells, scared to talk about certain situations, and it's somebody that may feel the same way that you do, that is the voice that come out and say it. You know what I mean?
I would call him brave, right? I would say he's brave because I feel like he's taking conversations that we have behind closed doors.
Absolutely.
That we are scared to have publicly because of the fact that we're in this whole cancel culture now, where like anything you say or do could potentially like ruin your whole life. And it's like, and sometimes in certain instances, yeah, I get it. Like, yeah, you know what I mean? You've been pissing on black girls forever.
Right.
Yeah, you deserve to get canceled, nigga. You should have been canceled. Right. You know what I'm saying? Right. But there are other instances. Look, we ain't gonna spoil the R. Kelly joke. That dude, but there are other instances where like I feel like people take something that was like, for instance, when he brings up the Kevin Hart joint. Like sometimes in certain instances, clearly people are not serious, right? And it doesn't really take a ridiculous amount of context or whatever to figure out that this person is joking. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And a lot of times comedians are, like you were saying, like Steph actually said in the comments, they're oftentimes dealing with their own insecurities and different things like they're working on that they're trying to grow on, and they're being bold enough to actually share it in public in a environment where like, yeah, it might not go so well. What's the Morgan Freeman quote that they say in the trailer? He says basically, if you say anything, you risk everything. Yeah, that's a great quote. Yeah, and shout out to Matthew, man. He basically pointed out like the comedian Bill Burr, who I love Bill Burr, but he's a very controversial comedian, so to speak, and oftentimes says very offensive stuff. And I love that dude stand up, so I'm well aware of some of the wild stuff that come out that dude's mouth. And you don't see him catch like the same type of flack, and that's largely because he's not as popular as Chappelle. So of course Chappelle's going to catch more of it. And then one could argue he also is a white male. So you know what I mean? But yeah,
that's the history of comedy. Mm-hmm. When you go back as far as people like Moms Mabley or Andrew Dice Clay,
you know what I mean? Bruh.
Yeah.
I used to listen to Andrew Dice Clay in elementary school,
it's not one Andrew Dice Clay stand-up that wasn't over the top offensive.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
that could be tough.
Yeah,
bro, I can't even. Why?
It's I don't know, man. I think comedy is one of those stages where you get what you're going to get. You know what I'm saying? And either you're going to be there knowing what's you know what I mean, that it's going to be risque, or you're going to not partake at all. Mm. You know what I'm saying? And I like in the same way when it comes to music. Certain groups, you knew what you was getting into before you bought their album.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? If I buy an NWA album, I know I'm going to get a whole lot of ratchet. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If I buy, you know what I mean? If I buy, an MC8 album, if I buy a whole bunch of people out, if I buy an MOB album, anything, if I buy that, I know going in what to expect from it. You know what I mean? So it's the same thing when it comes to comedy. You don't go to see a Seinfeld show expecting to hear Dave Chappelle jokes.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You just don't. You know what I mean? You go to see Dave Chappelle because you know he's going to push the envelope a little bit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You go see Eddie Murphy because you know Eddie going to push the envelope a little bit. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So it's certain people, it's like, all right, that's them doing their thing. You should expect it, you know? And if you are at the point where you got eggshells for skin, you probably shouldn't be there in the first place. Right. You shouldn't be participating in the first place.
It's it's like Dave said. He's like, you clicked on my face.
Yeah, exactly. Richard Pryor wouldn't get too damn about coming. Yeah. Hey,
Black 30 Truth, welcome. I don't remember seeing you up in here before, so welcome. And that's the crazy thing, right? Some of the same people who get offended at some of this stuff, I'm just curious to know, like, if they listed their top 5 comedians, like, all time, like, who falls in your top 5? Because you can't look at what these dudes are saying, tell me it's offensive, but then in the same time tell me, like, oh, Richard Pryor is one of the greatest. Yeah. Eddie Murphy's one of the greatest. Paul Mooney is one of the greatest, right? Like, and it's like, dude, the list goes on. And all of these dudes are, like, hands down some of the greatest to ever do it. But their stand-up, like, back then? What was, and keep in mind, like, when you watch it now, right, like, it's almost uncomfortable hearing some of the stuff that these bombers were saying.
Yeah.
But keep in mind, right, like, as much as we were always different back then, no, them dudes still caught some hell back then, too, for what they were saying. You know what I mean? And so, you know, it's just they would catch even more hell nowadays. But yeah, Paul Mooney, though. Yeah, Steph. Man, that's a whole, that about,
Yeah, latest news on that?
Nah, what happened, yo?
The whole rumor that came, not rumor, the message that he came out and he slept with Richard Pryor's son.
Oh, wow. Nah, I ain't hear about that.
Yeah. So that's a real thing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I don't know.
Real as in happened or real as in rumor?
No, real as in it happened years ago.
Wow. Gotcha.
So, a lot's been going on. Just gotta keep,
CM Lugo, what's going on, man? Peace, bro.
CM Lugo, what's going on, man?
Yeah, man. Was it prayers out to Kevin Hart too, man? I saw something circulating saying that something happened with him, but basically he was in a car accident or something.
Yeah, I heard that too.
Hopefully he's okay, man. But yeah, man. What was it? Other stuff. What was it? I know I mentioned Mind Hunters, but you haven't seen that yet, right?
What's that about?
Mind Hunters is a show that talks about like the FBI and how when they first created a division that focused on what we now know as serial killers before they were labeled serial killers.
Okay.
And so, so the person who created the show is David Finch. If y'all are fans of David Finch, he's the brother who did the movie Seven. He did the movie Panic Room. He did Fight Club. A lot of crazy joint. His movies almost always have like a certain look to it, like certain thing he loves, like that type of stuff. But yeah, man, it's a great show.
What platform is that on?
That's on Netflix as well.
Okay.
Yeah, but the new season is interesting because they talk about that case years ago in Atlanta where all of the little boys were coming up missing, and a few girls as well were not coming up missing, but were being murdered. And how they were pointing out that it was like, I haven't finished the new season, by the way, so I'll try not to do any spoilers, but it's just an really interesting show because it really it's not a joint like, it's not about trying to excuse what people are doing. What it is trying to get to the core of what makes them do what they do, right? Like, what are the circumstances, all of the different things or whatever that are like, what type of home they're being brought up in, what type of experiences they had when they were younger. Because
so are they trying to,
they're literally going into the prisons where these dudes are locked up and they're interviewing these dudes.
Oh, okay.
Right, because after they've been caught, they go and they try to find the connection between these different people, right? And of course it's mostly white men, but then recently they just talked to a black dude with a similar MO. And so basically by studying these past dudes, it makes it so that they can catch new ones when they start up. Like they'll see the crime, and then when they see the crime, they see certain similarities, and they be like, this dude's probably gonna do it again. And then they basically start tracking these dudes. It's dope. I'd highly recommend checking out Mind Hunters if you haven't checked it out before.
So I don't know how I feel about that.
What?
I don't know how I feel about that. Because it's almost like profiling to me. Like, if there are similar, oh man,
it's a slippery slope.
Yeah, and this will segue into something I heard from, Jay-Z earlier that we're gonna talk about.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, it's definitely a slippery slope because everything isn't a square.
But you're funny.
Square. I saw that about not being alive back then. Yeah, everything isn't a cookie cutter.
Yeah.
Type scenario.
Yes, but I feel like there are some instances, right, where like people exhibit certain patterns, right, and we can kind of predict some behavior, not all, but we are sometimes able to draw certain conclusions based off of certain patterns that people exhibit, right? Like it's kind of like I mean, because I just feel like it's one of those things like, profiling absolutely sucks in certain instances. But then there are other instances where it's like, for example, you know what I mean? Like, like think about it. Think about relationships, right? Yeah. You've gone through like 2 or 3 bad relationships. and then you see certain things happening in a new relationship that remind you of those past relationships.
That is true.
And so you're gonna naturally like consider flying the coop. Like, yo, I'm out because I know where this went last time.
Right.
Do I give them benefit of the doubt because I gave the last two after the first one benefit of the doubt?
Fool me once, shame on you.
Yeah.
Fool me twice, shame on me.
Right. So I think it's one of those things that.
But what are they doing after the research?
So when they get a new case, like when they say there's this murder that looks a bit suspicious, it kind of fits the profile of some of the other cases you've been studying.
Oh, it's like
go,
for you.
Right, and so go there, check it out, take a look, and let us know what you find, and let us know if you think this fits into what we've been doing, and then we'll pursue.
So they follow patterns then.
Yeah. So, like, for example, like, if they're noticing that, like, after a person's murdered or whatever, like, the person's, like, cleaning the body, like, washing the feet or something like that. If they are kind of tied up a certain way, right? Or, like, it's kind of like the combination of, like, crazy, like, brutality and care. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like this person's, like, very sadistic like that. And so, but then a lot of these men grew up in situations or came up in environments like, because they ultimately in some of these cases, in most of these cases, they were targeting women, right? And so, and like in how they brutally maim these women, you know what I mean? Like, they were able to make a connection that obviously they have a certain disdain for women. And where does that come from? And a lot of these dudes like had an abusive mother. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what we're talking about.
Yeah. What up, Tommy? Hey, man, shout out to all the new folks popping up today, man.
Yeah.
Yoden, Guerrera Torres. Peace. What's going on? But yeah, man. So I say all that to say, check it out. It's definitely dope. They want to know what your shirt say.
My shirt says, I can barely read it now. It says, we march, y'all mad. We sit down, y'all mad. We speak up, y'all mad. We die, y'all silent.
Mm-hmm.
So a little political.
Come on, son.
Yeah, a little political, basically.
Say it louder for the people in the back.
Yeah, so basically it refers to some of the struggle that we have as far as voicing ourselves.
Yeah.
When certain situations happen. So that's it.
He said it real nice. Basically, you know what I'm saying? It deals with the fact that, like, yo, the people who, like, are mad all the time, oftentimes just really want us to shut the fuck up and take whatever it is that's thrown at us. You know what I mean? Put that in the swear jar.
Exactly.
And ain't nobody having that shit, Pete. You know what I'm saying? You know?
Right.
And that's all, you know, that's what it is, man.
Right.
Going down a hill full speed ahead.
Yeah.
So what's going on with Jay? You said you heard something.
All right, so
sports after.
There was a summit that Jay had. It was to speak on the whole social activism thing that he has going on with the NFL. And basically what's happening is the more that gets unraveled about that, the worse it's looking for Jay-Z.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know how when the announcement first happened, it was kind of split 50-50. You had people that said this was a chess move from Jay. You know what I mean? It's a seat at the table.
Right.
It's, we need to change things from the inside. I even got somebody tell me, you know what I mean, think of a Trojan horse and everything. So it was all support for Jay, not knowing exactly what was going to happen. And then there was the wait and see crowd. Can't really knock that.
Right.
You know what I mean? They said, you know what, it doesn't look right, or it looks kind of so let me wait and see what happens. And then you had the other people that said downright, yeah, you selling out the cause for yourself, and saw it as a capitalistic opportunity. So that was, a week ago, 2 weeks ago. More has come out about the initiative, and basically what they're going to do is provide like concerts. They're going to provide apparel. The apparel is going to give a fraction of the proceeds of the apparel that goes towards a cause. It didn't specify what cause.
Right.
It didn't specify what, you know what I mean? But like I told people, it's just like the breast cancer awareness initiative that the NFL does.
Sure.
They sell a bunch of apparel that's pink, that has, anything from helmets to cleats.
You know what I mean? Or headbands to cleats. Anything with that shield on it, the NFL turns a profit from.
Right.
Then they kick a percentage to breast cancer awareness research.
Right.
So even with their so-called activism when it comes to raising money for that, it's still something in it for the NFL. Right. Same thing's going on with the apparel that, you know, Jay-Z is behind or whatever, or is a part of the whole social activism thing. They're going to kick a percentage to some God knows, you know, some, you know, support thing, and God knows who or really where it's going. But it's not the latest kicker. So Jay-Z, during this last session, he says that, and I'm paraphrasing, feel free to go back. I actually retweeted it too for those that follow me. He says that growing up in a single mother household, your dad's not there, and you grow up with this, you know, I hate my dad type feeling, or I'm the man of the house and nobody's gonna tell me nothing type attitude or whatever. You develop an adverse feeling for authority. So when you go out in the street and a police officer tells you, you know, don't move, put your hands up, and, you know what I mean, sit down or whatever, and you know, because of your adverse feeling of authority, you want to respond by saying fuck you. He says that type of attitude basically is what gets, or that type of environment is basically what gets a lot of people killed. So Twitter went in because basically he's likening it to these kids being shot and these, you know, innocent people being harmed because they're not respecting the authoritative figure because they're coming up in a household that's, you know, doesn't have any type of authority figure, or they don't have any type of, or he has some type of resentment towards his father. So basically he took the whole thing and he made it so that the victims are the culprits behind what's actually going on to them. And Twitter went ham.
Right.
And so now a lot of the support that he had once before is starting to back away from it. You know what I mean? And there's this whole movement about cancel Jay because he's not really...
Too late for that, B.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
It's like...
So it's
it ain't that simple.
And to be honest with you, it goes back to something we said before. He's always shown you who he was.
Yeah. Jay Wellington was just... When someone shows you who they are, believe you.
Yeah, so he's always shown you who he was. Now that he's quote unquote at the table, he's basically just speaking the same key points that he's hearing from these same guys that are billionaires say, well, you know, they're not really the police aren't really the problem. You know what I mean? It's the fact that you're not doing what you're told. You know what I mean? That's what he came in. And I'm like, Samir Rice didn't even have a chance to speak to a police officer to even say the words.
Right.
You know what I mean? Trayvon Martin, you know what I mean? And the irony of it is Trayvon was minding his business, you know what I'm saying? Being followed, you know what I mean?
By someone who was not an authority figure.
And that, but the argument for a lot of people when that went down was he just should have did what he was told. You see what I'm saying? Against a guy who's not even a cop.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it to me, it's like you're putting the blame and the onus on being a good yes boy, you know what I mean, in order to live. And that's not freedom and that's not equality.
Right.
So him making that statement set a lot of people off, and it set a lot of people. And to me, I'm sitting back with my popcorn like, well,
right.
You know what I mean? I don't know if you've seen the GIF, the guy reaches back for the popcorn and he's just like, that's where I'm at with it, because I'm like, this is what I already knew and what I've been telling a lot of people about him for the longest time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, it's so transparent. I don't understand why people don't see it. So that's the heat that's on Jay right now. And that's, again, the NFL doing their whole spill to kind of soften the blow and to get somebody to speak to a community about what the message that they want to put out to them about how they want to handle, you know, social injustice. So,
yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. So that's that for Jay-Z.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like I feel like at this point, right, and it's not to say like things can't change overnight for anybody. I'm well aware of that. But I feel like as sloppy as he may be in these public statements he's making or whatever, like, you know, it's not like he's at a level now where cancel culture ain't enough to kind of really stop a lot of the things that he has going on, right? And so I think we got to do better in terms of who it is we empower with our money,
absolutely,
right? Who we're choosing to support. Because like Jay Wellens has said, like, this dude has always told you who he was,
yeah.
You know what I mean? And so, like, you know, it's one of those things, man, like, we justify a lot of the negative things that people do by bringing up examples of, well, you know, grow up in certain areas and this, that, and the third. I'm a dude who grew up in these communities. And so, like, so we oftentimes make excuses for some of our own because of the limited resources we have in our communities and the poor choices that we ultimately have in front of us 9 times out of 10.
Right.
So some of it, absolutely, it's almost impossible to avoid, right? If you don't have certain people around you protecting you from that and certain opportunities to lead you away from that. But then what makes matters worse is when people kind of go down that rabbit hole and they live that negative life, you absolutely got to give them like certain opportunities and chances to redeem themselves whenever they're available. But what you cannot do is celebrate them like making certain negative choices or bragging about making those certain negative choices, because then you're sending a mixed message.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's like, yo, like in one hand we're saying don't be the villain,
right?
You know what I mean? And then the other hand, we're celebrating the villain because they're anti-system, right? So we think because somebody's anti the system we don't like, that yo we can ride with them. But the thing is, they're not just anti the system; they also anti the people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? In those instances.
Yeah.
So you think you're riding with somebody who, like, yeah, he might be anti-system or whatever, but at the same time, he ain't really for you; he for himself.
Exactly.
So, like, you know, and at a time when he was absolutely for himself, people like was riding with him and supported him through that. And it's not to say he ain't look out for nobody, right? Like, it hasn't done anything for the community and for certain people. But young, let's not pretend like you can't put too much faith in the next man. Whatever you got a problem with in this world, man, you need to figure out how you can directly affect it and what you can do about it, and figure out how you can invest in those closest to you, who you can vouch for their lifestyle and the work they put in and day out. And celebrities are just that, B. Like, some of them seem really cool. Some of them seem really cool from afar, but everybody look cool from afar. So when you get up close and personal, when you see their imperfections, you start questioning everything. So, you know.
But to touch on it and then move on, I'm disappointed that he didn't speak to the different reasons why there are a lot of single mother households. You know what I'm saying? We come from a culture where a lot of our fathers, a lot of our leaders in our black community were arrested and killed by these same police officers that he's talking about. You know what I'm saying? So from that perspective, like, tell the whole story. Yes, you may be mad, you know what I mean, that your dad's not there. Or yes, you may be mad, you know what I mean, that you grew up in a certain situation and everything. And what person, a lot of people have adverse feelings to people in authority. Not just single. I grew up with both. You
ever been around with white teenagers?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Some of the stuff they like, yo, I've worked in both types of schools.
Right.
So I hear the stuff that both, like, young, it's common in teenagers in general.
Period.
It ain't always about single parent, whatever. It's more about you're not my parent.
Right.
Period.
Right.
Ain't a man like, yo, it's just like, I don't know you, and you saying a whole lot of stuff and being very aggressive.
Right.
And I don't know you. So, like, yeah, off the top that I don't know you, cop or not, right? Whoever, if someone comes at you aggressively.
Especially they're not coming at you with a level of respect.
Yeah.
These kids nowadays, they want to be respected as much as you ask them to respect you.
You're right.
So a lot of times you're looked at as less in your own community by the same people who are there to quote unquote protect and serve.
Right. Who are not from your community 9 times out of 10.
Absolutely. And you develop I remember this one story. I was at the movies or whatever. I was at the movies, a group of us, you know what I mean, on a date or whatever, just at the movies hanging out or whatever. We were somewhere in Virginia. I want to say Hoffman. Long time ago, Virginia. It's previews, right? So we joking around, you know what I mean? It's previews, we talking. The main feature didn't show up. Okay, so we joking around, we laughing. Then the last preview rolls around. This lady this white woman at the towards the front of the theater, she turns around and says, "All right, guys, the movie's coming on. Be quiet now," or whatever, right? And so we joking. You know what I'm saying? Somebody says something flip. She goes and gets a cop. Black cop. He comes in and he looks directly up at us and he says, "All right, y'all." We said, "All right, y'all gotta, all right, y'all, the movie's playing. Be quiet. Keep that ghetto stuff at home."
Wow.
I'm like, D, you don't know if I'm from the ghetto, suburbs, inner city,
more importantly,
like that.
You weren't in here when whatever was said.
At all. So the example that you're showing not only to us is that you don't respect us, but you're also showing the white lady who went and got you.
Black cop showing off for the...
That's what I'm saying. So you're showing her that we don't need to be respected at all.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that type of mentality is what I'm talking about. Like, you can't ask to be respected if you're not showing respect from the jump. So you may feel who don't have an adverse authority figure. I mean, have adverse feeling against authority figures. Right. And when you're in those communities and they talk to you like trash, or they approach you like trash, and they're always harassing you. You know what I mean? Of course, you're gonna feel a certain way about a cop. Right. Of course, you're going to. So I didn't like what he said. I thought that it was
he's showing off in front of company. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, come on, dog. Like, man.
And the more he talks, it reminds me of Malcolm X when he talked about bringing why they always run to a celebrity to be the voice of black people. Like, they never get an advocate, they never get a social advocate or civil rights advocate. They always go to a entertainer in order to be the black voice. And that entertainer, because of where they sit most of the time, they're going to side with and say the one thing that's going to keep them gainfully employed. Yeah,
they're going to keep them because and when I tell folks, like when I tell people, I'm like, like oftentimes it's, you got certain people who will absolutely speak up and take whatever comes with it, right? But like the one thing I tell people all the time, it's like, like you got to stop expecting people who aren't in your predicament, right, to somehow like speak up for you, right, and do what you would do in that situation, right? Like you know, whether it's Jay, whoever, because off top, before they act on anything, they looking at what they got to lose. And what I tell people all the time, I'm like, young, you got look at yourself too, right? Look at yourself, cause we say a lot in the chat. You know what I'm saying? Like, we say a lot of things, but oftentimes when we're given the opportunity to speak up and do something, we oftentimes won't. You know what I mean? Like, and risk. Right? People don't want to take that risk. You know what I mean? And it's just like, and I'm talking about small level. I ain't even talking about like when the camera on. I'm talking about in your neighborhood. Where I used to live when we first moved back to the DMV, before we got to this side of things, we were in Baltimore first, which technically isn't the DMV area, but it's Maryland. So when we first moved there, that house that we had in Bmore, that neighborhood was nothing sweet. That neighborhood was nothing sweet. And so, like the missus one time, she come to me because some youngins next door, they didn't live in that house and the house was vacant. So they would hang on the little the steps and they would eat. And then like their trash or whatever, like when the wind kick up, their trash would just blow up into our yard. So my wife was getting irritated. Of course I was getting irritated. Then one day she asked me if I could say something to the dudes. Now, right, every dude has been there. You know what I mean? First. and bear with me, because I know this ain't the exact same thing as all the politics and this, that, and the third. But this is a very real situation, and I'm trying to help you see it on a smaller scale. So off top, when my wife asked me to do this, one, I'm like, all right, we'll see how this go. Because again, like, God forbid, these young men might be being raised by single mothers. This might not play out well. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I'm being, in case anybody wonders, I'm joking, right?
Right.
But like, you know, you gotta check folks nowadays.
Yeah.
But anyway, like, yo, off top, I'm like, okay, let me. I'm gonna go about that. I'm gonna make sure I do what needs to be done because it wasn't just bothering my wife; it was bothering me too. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna speak to him. But luckily, I'm a person that's been trained, right? Like I work with at-risk youth. I've been doing that for 20 years, so I know how to kind of address young people or whoever, especially when they really ain't trying to hear shit I gotta say, right? And you know, I wish Sherm was here right now because Sherm could vouch for me. Right after the riots, the uprising happened in Baltimore or whatever, there was something popped off at a show. Yeah, there was something popped off at a show I had in B-more like a week later. A dude was beating this girl in a car right out front of the venue I was in. And brothers like from the venue came out, snatched money up out the car, got involved. And by the time I got out there, Money was walking off talking about he's about to get his people, get some and come back. And everybody just letting him walk off. And I'm like, fuck y'all doing? What y'all doing? Like, why y'all letting this thing walk off? So I proceed, and like I start walking, and then and my man Sherm wasn't out there yet, but what's my man?
Threats like that are real.
Oh my God, the something fit the dry fish. My man, he's a poet in B-more. I'm forgetting his first name, but anyway, he sees me walk, and he comes with me, and I proceed to talk Money up for like almost 30 minutes. Right? Because I'm just like, y'all ain't thinking right now. Because if y'all was gonna do more, if y'all was gonna whip Money ass and really go in and stop dude, like y'all should have did it already.
Right.
Letting him leave, and I ain't even going there to fight him. I'm going there just to see what's going on, talk him down, calm him down, because he's saying a lot of reckless stuff. And that could play one way with the dudes and then played another way there. So anyway, I talked dude down for a while, get him calm. Sherm at one point was getting frustrated at certain things dude said. Sherm starts to get loud, start yelling some shit. Money pops off and then he leaves. And it's just like, but yo, right. And they ain't saying it all escalated because of him. Dude was gonna do what he wanted to do. But what I did, and this is what folks didn't realize, there were still people in the venue. So me talking Money down allowed folks time to get out of the venue. Right. So everybody that was in there, in case dude came back, now was gone. Like all the women, all of the brothers who was up in there, like enjoying themselves. And then we knew if cops came a week after the uprising, it was going to be ugly. Yeah. So a cop came while we were dealing with dude, and me and the other brother, we got the cop to leave. Like we got him to chill out and leave and let him know that we had it. It took like 10 minutes to convince the cop while we trying to keep the dude cool, but the cop left. And then when it escalated and dude was like finally walked off and darted off, like we ain't had no choice then but to call the cops because we didn't know what he was going to do. Right. And sure enough, he showed back up with like 5 or 6 dudes, But again, knowing how to talk to people, keeping dude calm enough, long enough so that folks could leave. You know what I mean? And so going back to the house situation. So when I go out and speak to the dudes off top, I don't ever approach people with the whole, I'm older than you, you gonna do what the fuck I say do, right? I don't approach people with the whole, I'm bigger than you, you gonna do what the fuck I say do. Or this is my house, what the fuck y'all think y'all don't? It's like, that ain't necessary. So off top, when I go up to the dudes, I'm like, peace fellas, listen, I just wanna talk to y'all real quick. Because I see y'all eating right now, and we don't mind y'all chilling. It's cool. Y'all ain't too loud or nothing. Ain't nobody got a problem with that. Just do me a favor. When y'all done, just take y'all trash with you. And y'all do that for me? Yeah. And it's all questions, right? Like I'm like, can you think you can help me out with that? I appreciate it. Because when I cut my grass and all that, some of the trash that y'all leave, sometimes be over there. And for real, I said, that's like, for real, I don't even know if it's y'all. You know what I mean? Because I ain't out my window looking to see who eating every day. Yeah. I just see y'all out here today, and I know we sometimes got trash over in y'all. So if y'all can help me out, and one dude sitting in front, he got the most attitude. I see it all top
in his face.
Right, but then while he's not looking at me while I'm talking to him, but I look up and I see the other two paying attention a little something. Right. So I start addressing them. I don't give him any I don't want to give him any more energy than I'm giving off. Right. And so I ultimately addressed them, and the dude sitting in front, he said, "Yeah, all right." And then the dude's like, yeah, nah, no problem, man. We got you.
Right.
And that was that.
Right.
And that was that. And after that, them dudes didn't hang out there as much. It wasn't as much trash. It's about as much trash as you would see in Baltimore. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it is what it is. But more importantly, something didn't have to pop off because I was able to control my energy and the energy I gave off, because people are mirrors. Mm-hmm. All we do is reflect most of the time what's given to us. Right. And so, just folks making a better effort to be mindful of that. And oftentimes people in authority positions don't do that. And I'm even guilty of it. Like, and this times in education, when I was working in education, where someone give off some joint and you just tired at that point because you've been being nice all day. Mm-hmm. And then one person say something and you just, because you've reached your threshold. So that happens to the best of us. Even like some of the people who I never see do that. They've had those days, and that happens to parents, everybody. But the biggest issue is that oftentimes people in authority, they get it's and my man who's a cop told me this. He was like, dog, like all the training that people say we need to get and how this, he's like, dog, we get all that. He's like, we get all that. But it's like you can't force a person to change who does not want to change.
Absolutely not.
So there are certain officers who's taking that information and they're growing from it, and there's certain people who already have that info and they are who they are. They're already good dudes, so they ain't out there giving that off. And then there's a whole lot of assholes who really just got that job so they could be an extra asshole.
And see, that's where to answer your question, we're speaking on the comments that Jay-Z said. I retweeted it on Twitter. Mm-hmm. The comments that Jay-Z said about, he kind of put the blame on young black men as far as the relationship between us and the police or whatever. So we're talking on that. And I'm glad you said that. You know what I mean? 'Cause again, I don't want to harp on it too much longer, but there are certain people in the police force that basically are happy to have that authority. It's like that kid who got teased and bullied so much in high school, and now he has an inch of authority or whatever, and he's taking it too far.
Yeah,
you know
absolutely.
What I mean? And so because of that, you feel untouchable. And the reason why that's a dangerous thing is because it's like a high. Once you feel like you can get away with, if you can speed and everybody else got to do the speed limit, you're going to feel that type of high.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You're going to feel that type of level of authority because that's what you know what I mean? You have no impunity. You can do whatever you want.
Right.
So a lot of them get that type of authority and they feel like I can do what I want because at the end of the day, even if I do the worst case scenario, I'm not going to face any type of repercussions.
Right.
You know what I mean? And this is the reason why, going back to Colin Kaepernick and his kneeling and his Know Your Rights campaign, is different from Jay-Z and what he's saying. You know what I mean? Just to segue it all together. One is telling you about the rights that you have, what to say, what not to say, what puts you in a position of being correct in a situation, and the other is telling you because you grew up with an adverse feeling of authority, then you're part of the problem for the reason why these things are happening.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's what I had a problem with.
Yo, real quick, I'm going to just address something and then we're going to move on because this dude got to spit some bars before we go. Hikaru, I always question if I'm saying it right. Right. Just to address what you said, so before he was like, you stay up scary as a bug. I know you're just playing, but I want to say this, right? Like, fear, right, is a very natural thing, and it's okay, right? Like, you can be nervous about saying something or doing something, right? And it's okay to be scared or a little nervous for it, as long as it don't stop you from doing what you need to do. Right? And I'm not going to pretend like I wasn't like nervous or this, that, and the third or whatever when I spoke to the dudes. But my fear always stems from, one, I don't know what they're going to do. But I'm a firm believer in what my uncle says all the time. He's like, my uncle said, it don't matter what they're going to do as long as I know what I'm going to do.
Right.
Right? And so the fear that I always have going into certain situations is, one, I don't know what they're going to do and how it's going to play out. But I also know what my temperament is and how I am a real calm dude 95% of the time. But, like, I got a really volatile temper when I get to a certain point. And I'm definitely a person that's not going to wait for anything to happen to me.
I'm a dude
that, like, if it looks like a threat, right? Like the time it kind of escalates and go a different direction and it look like something about to go down, I ain't gonna wait for it to happen to me before I respond.
Mm-hmm.
So you know, but again, ain't no tough guy shit. It's just really acknowledging the fact that we all deal with a little bit of fear. Even the people who front like they ain't scared of nothing. Like you question whether or not you're gonna do this, whether or not you're gonna move this way, and how to respond to whatever. And that's a natural thing. But as long as fear doesn't stop you from doing what you know is right in the situation, and that can work for anything, whether we just talking about working hard at a job you're doing or we're talking about a physical situation or a threatening situation. You know, as long as fear doesn't stop you from doing what you believe is necessary to be done, that's okay. And I'm okay with that. So, yeah. But anyway, on that note, all this serious shit. You know what I'm saying? Damn it! You know what I mean? See, this is why Sherm, hey Sherm, you ain't shit. That's why you should have been. Because you know, you would have balanced out the joint. Because me and Cash get up in this joint, but like, and another thing, brothers and sisters.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But yeah, man. So on that note, I'm gonna stop the beat. So my man, because Cash wrote some bars. You know what I mean? For those who don't know and didn't catch last week, I was talking about the fact that me and this brother, we go back. So for those who don't know, Cash and I go back to 6th grade, right? Is when we first met. So yeah, we were 11 when we first met. So that's a long ass time, right? And by the time we were, I want to say like 15, we started actually like a rap group. It was myself, Cash, and another brother named Jamal. I always forget what Jamal's rap name was back then, yo. I can't remember. I'm gonna ask him next time I talk to him. But it was us.
You gotta go back and listen to the tapes.
I got that joint. I found like right after the show was over last week, I found our old demo. So at one point, sometime or whatever, and I'll give y'all a heads up, I will play a sample of that old demo so you can hear us all rapping when we were like 15 years old. So anyway, this brother and I, we used to have a group called Scan, and Scan was basically some cool ass niggas. My man pointed out, what was it? Matt was talking about he's listening to Outkast, and so that line back in the day when we was slave, I bet we was some cool ass niggas. So that's where the
came from.
Yeah. So on that note, Sherm. Wow, Cash gonna take us down memory lane and spit some bars for us real quick, because people didn't believe us when we was telling them that this brother Brian. So I ain't heard it either.
Yeah, he ain't heard it, and mind you, I'm tired as hell. So I'm gonna just spit these. I'm gonna read them to y'all. If I feel like I get into the pattern of it or whatever, then I'll just go with it. But this ain't rehearsed. This ain't to no beat. This ain't nothing. It's just me doing my thing, doing something I did many years ago. All right, so and
Haku, right? It's all good. I know it's all good. Now you just say I was just playing with you, and I was like, it's all good.
Okay. All right, so I wish I had some water right now.
I'd offer you some, but you know.
Yeah,
right.
that's yours. That's
right.
yours. All right, I'm about to go to the sink and get some. Okay, so 16 years since my last 16, the hibernation's over. Blessed with a gift that I'm spitting like it's holy water. Every bar is potent like meth campus. Flood the game like oceans, you a mild damper. This is omnipotent, not being brass, but this is omnipotent, not being brass. But niggas spend their life chasing God ass or chasing cash. And I rule I'm fucking it up already. And I rule everything. You just a shook nigga. Maneuver the game like boxing rings. I punch and I hook niggas. Mumbling over beats like a speech from Mayweather figure. The day I talk retarded is the day you speaking to my tethered nigga. The irony is I'm dumb nice. Believe you, the irony is I'm dumb nice. Believe me, you gon' feel me. I'm fucking it up. The irony is I'm dumb nice. Believe me, you gon' feel me. I'm fucking it up.
Hold on.
Let me rewind this all the way up. It says 16 years since my last 16, the hibernation's over. Blessed with a gift that I'm spitting like it's holy water. Every bar is potent like meth campus. Flood the game like oceans, you a mild damper. This is omnipotent, not being brass, but niggas spend their life chasing God, ass, or chasing cash. And I rule everything. You just a shook nigga. Maneuver the game like boxing rings. I punch and I hook niggas. Mumbling over beats like a speech from Mayweather figure. The day I talk retarded, the day you speaking to my tether, nigga. The irony is I'm dumb nice. Believe me, you gon' feel me. Believe me, you gon' feel me before you see me like, fuck that line up. Anyway.
That's all good.
Yeah, believe me, you gon' feel me before you see me like I'm hair lice. Now scratch your head on that. I've been away from rap, but gifted enough that I can bring it back like I never slapped. Now copy that. Copycats counterfeit. I blackstain the game, then hold it to the light because it's clear that we ain't the same. I gotta redo that all over again.
It's all good.
Yeah, I gotta redo that all over again. I fucked that up way too many times. Again, I'm off for like 3 hours of sleep, so
all good. So.
The next time y'all hear that or whatever, it's gonna be spit to us a beat or a pattern or whatever. So I'm sorry, I fucked it up a few times or whatever. But yeah, we need a beat. Yeah.
It's all good. Hey, man, clap it up for Cash. Hey, shout out to Malcolm Jackson up here as well. I'm trying. So what I'm doing, if y'all see me leaning in on the screen, Cash don't know it, but I feel like I got old joints already on here.
Oh, word?
Yeah, I'm just trying to remember. Hold on. Let me see something, son. I'm trying to find the old UV folder. Because I got a UV joint where, like with some of the joints we did when you would come up to New York or I was coming back down or whatever for the summers and all of that.
Okay.
Yeah, so I might got something in the stash, something slight. Okay. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Oh, yep, there it is. UV in the fam. Hold on, son. I don't know. Y'all might get it exclusive before we go. Oh, look, I got at least 3 solo Cash joints from like 2002. And then, hold on, I'm trying to find that joint. Yeah, I'm trying to find that one joint. The beat was, here you go. As Nice as We Want to Be. Okay. Featuring Cash. There you go. All right, so look, y'all, I'm about to take y'all back to January 14th, 2002. Right? And I feel like we might have recorded this before that. So I'm about to play something for y'all that's probably close to 20 years old. That's how far back me and Cash go. And yeah.
Yo, where you find this joint?
Right.
We are living magnificent, whipping your ass impotent. Words of blast, from south to past, Michigan, something cash, nothing is something you ask. Immigrants was like the trespassing, fighters kept flashing. Got the best action like Kung Fu flicks, so I can get.
Oh, my bad. Hold on.
I heard this on this so long.
Name was a lie. You were one of my henchmen. Then it's not worth being mentioned. So I battle you for your pension and your college tuition. And then you flat broke with not a pot to listen. You got a death wish like a drunk driver with a weak heart, driving reckless. Blowing leave a blemish on the earth the size of Texas. So stand through the elegance. Hit you with a body shot to shine in your pancreas. Leave you helpless and hating this as a health risk. Hope you enjoy before you endure. Cause you ain't got a clue, just what you're in for. You got to put win wars, and you with me 10-4. Remember this, what? You know the deal, baby. Black fuck you all, estimation.
Cash.
Form of aggression, more than transgression, more than the lesson. And suppression, warning your section, niggas swarming the second. I'm professing, a storm of the message. Contested that you're forming and stretching. Warning your death, I see as a blessing. First impression was nothing impressive. I bet you're sexing questions while you even setting the session. And guessing that you fake like wrestling. Over the top, bro. You versus niggas like cracking this message.
Hey, yeah.
Niggas don't let you blow with no hope. Niggas don't know because it's something you say. They know because the beat nice. Shut up and let the track play. And please just do something to please us. Pray, but you wouldn't have the upper hand if you got high fives from Jesus. I'm pointing out faggots like racing boomerang. You can't get over here. My name and thought I'd be on jig divide. I'm dope enough to let you spin 100 bars up on the mic. And when I'm up, scream, you suck. Battle over. Good night.
Hey, so I just want to point out, right? Because last week, hey, because last week I said, I was like, yo, one of the things about Cash flow been sick forever. And like, my verse was cool and it had some great lines, but the second Cash got form of aggression, hey,
I ain't heard that in so long.
Hey. Right, so look, so Cash said run it back. Yeah. There's more to it. I'm gonna let the rest of it play. That's what I'm gonna do.
Song in years, yo.
So
I'm dangerous when holding the mic, sort of like niggas running a light. In the middle of rush hour, I devour and eat them seeds before they can get past the clavicle. Verbal animal, cannibal, and she saw me Hannibal. Animals and only ballers out and kick like strippers. Names to be illustration for painting a sick picture. Call me Mister Mike Ripper, come get your sister over my zipper. With mom's too, when I bomb crews confused. To see me if they drop the A and Acme. Enemies asking for it like you're playing with a Ouija. Believe me, hope you got a real, cause you like rapper film. The matrix, you would've chose the blue film. Style ain't real, you got perfect attendance, cause you was never ill. You better roll, cause the floor just up in high heels. That's no lie, if I slow my style and made it boring, niggas will miss ones like the Bulls with no Jordan.
That's your mom to stop sending me new pics through email. All the bunch of shit jump, but I don't hit females. Rappers be selling their souls as if they work retail ridiculously. Meticulously, I'm detailed. Crush whack purses, roll them out in black purses. Fake felon, misdemeanor, petty thug to snatch purses. My lines crack surface, you're common like fat nurses. Claiming your own point, you never grab like purpose. Trying to hang with the big boys and haven't reached puberty. Give it up while you still got the opportunity. Cause nothing in finest. River rapper with the swiftness who be faking moves like an atheist celebrating Christmas. You be familiar, cash my first cousin. Thought your ride was nice, I'll be son the first wasn't. She on a whack nigga just to meet my quota. With lyrics that make a perfect instrumental sound doper.
Right?
Okay.
You represent
Cash? No way.
representing Mad Berlin all day. Watch how we freak these rhymes like full play.
Yeah, man.
Yo, that brought back memories.
Yeah,
dog.
dude.
Yeah.
Hey, clap it up for Cash, man.
Yeah. I appreciate it. So what y'all heard from that track ain't what you heard today, like over a beat or whatever. I know I fucked it up or whatever. That's because, you know, I'm dead tired. You know what I mean? So yeah. Yo.
Yeah, I got
You
joint.
found that joint?
Yeah, I got that joint. I got a couple joints.
Yo, I gotta play. You gotta send me that.
Yeah, I
Play
got
that
you,
back,
dude.
yo.
Look, I'm gonna write it down now.
Yo.
Yeah, man. But yeah, man. Look, this whole folder is old. This folder goes back to like 2000, I think. You know what I mean? And then that doesn't include all of the stuff I got on cassette. What was it? I got your solo joint, Lord Y, Prove Me Wrong, Real MC. I got those joints up in here too. I don't remember what those sound like.
I don't remember them joints either.
Yeah, right. Can't say, wait a minute.
Yo, that song take me
Let's
back,
see.
yo.
I'm trying to see what else.
But that's how, you know what? Those were fun days. You know what I'm saying? Where
On Top. That's the joint from the Make the Face mixtape you did.
Yeah.
Right.
That's a little too slow.
Right.
Slow stuff. I mean,
Hold on.
It's cool, but
let me see something.
I like that joint we just played.
Representing you.
These were the joints you did over Oats Beats. Yeah.
Yeah, nah.
Right.
I don't even remember that.
Let me see.
Yeah.
Right.
Nah.
And then,
I don't even think those were mastered.
It's funny.
they weren't. These were all
Those
ruts.
weren't mastered. It was all rough.
Yeah, but I do have a lot of old joints. People like, hey, Steph, you funny asking for that On Top joint. They try to get me to play the Cash being the sex symbol joint. You know what I'm saying? But yo,
make an appearance on the next Substantial. I mean, if he got time,
look, you here? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Look, man, we do mess around, do a joint for Patreon. Look, hey. So look, segue. So check this out. So tomorrow,
I got you.
So real quick, if you have not signed up for Patreon yet, please do so. It ranges from $1 to $50. Those of you who are already signed up, always make sure you check in to make sure your information is updated, because I know sometimes card information changes and that creates problems or whatever when stuff is going through. But on that note, the reason why I'm bringing it up is tomorrow, I finally finished the official Patreon pitch video. So that's going to go live on this channel tomorrow. So hopefully you guys can help us out by sharing it across your social media so we can get the word out and hopefully get more people to sign up. We are over halfway there in terms of getting to 50. So let's keep it moving so that way we can update the camera. Because if you hadn't noticed, this camera is not a full HD joint. It's just the one that's on this old computer that I'm using. So updating the camera, updating the audio stuff or whatever, like basically tightening up the equipment a bit. before we launch the show, so that way when we do launch the podcast, the joint is dope. Like, you know what I mean?
Please support.
Yeah, man. And all of that good stuff. So, yeah.
Man, you boosting me. You done
That's
blow my
what's up,
energy. Because my energy was like this. I'm sure y'all. So when I say I'm off for 3 hours sleep, I'm literally off for 2 or 3 hours sleep. So my energy before you played that joint
right.
from here
That's
to
what's up,
here,
man.
yo.
That's what's up, man. Glad.
You gotta send me that.
Yeah, I will, man. I will. And yeah, man, and just to let y'all know, back in the studio working on new stuff. Shout out to Precious Baird. I'm finishing up a song that I have with her. And then, last thing before we get ready to be out. Back in stock. Got these joints right here. They are available once again. I'll be updating the Bandcamp, the Bop Alloy Bandcamp channel so that you all can pick that up. And so for those of you who don't know what you're looking at, I ain't judging you, you know what I'm saying? But it is the first Bop Alloy.
Thanks for staying awake, guys. No problem. Real shit.
Yeah.
Real shit.
I know it's a struggle, man. But but definitely, man, like you can pick up the first album now. This is the one that has that very unique cover that opens and closes like 2 different ways. So that will be available starting tomorrow once again on the Bop Alloy channel. And please support if you haven't picked it up already. Because we are working on new music right now. And so, yeah. And I think that is about it, son.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man.
But,
hey. All right, so look. Cash one here one last time. So I'm going to go ahead. We're going to run the track back one last time, and then we out, son.
Yes, sir.
So we live for like an hour 30. Hold on. Let's see. Here you go. All right. I wish I could find this beat so I can take that part out. I love the rest of
magnificent, whipping your ass impotent. Words of blast, ignorant, south the past, Michigan, something cash, nothing is nothing you ask. Immigrants was like the trespassing, fighters kept slashing. Got the best action like Kung Fu flicks. So I can give 2 shits, that's who the fuck you rip. Cause if his name wasn't mine, you were one of my henchmen, then it's not worth being mentioned. So I battle you for your pension and your college tuition, and leave you flat broke with not a pot to listen. You got a death wish like a drunk driver with a weak heart, driving reckless. Blow and leave a blemish on the earth the size of Texas. The fans with the Elias. Hit you with a body shot to shatter your pancreas. Leave you helpless and hatiness as a helpless. Hope you enjoy before you endure. You ain't gotta do just got your inboard. You got to put win wars. Son, you with me? Remember then what? You know the deal. Bang the joint. Depth to the black. Fuck you all. Exclamation point.
Form of aggression. More than transgression. More than the lesson. And suppression. Warning your section. Niggas swarming a second. I'm professing. A storm of the message. Contested that you're forming and stretching. Warning your death. I see as a blessing. First impression. Was nothing impressive. I bet your section questions.
I got some questions.
And guessing that you fake like wrestling. Over the top rope. You versus niggas like cracking this marijuana. Cause niggas don't think you blow with no hope. Niggas don't nod because of something you say. They nod because the beat nice. Shut up and let the track play. And please just do something to please us. Pray, but you wouldn't have the upper hand if you got high fives from Jesus. I'm pointing our fingers like Gracie Boomerang.
The ad-lib in the background.
I'm dope enough to let you spin 100 bars up on the mic, and when I'm up, scream.
You suck.
Battle over. Good night.
All right, we got it. Yeah, man. Once again, now you know Cash raps in real life. All right, real quick, because we got to go. Mugen asks, Stan, how does the Patreon carry over to merch on your site? Does it give you the discount? Yeah, so basically, if you sign up, I believe, for like the $10 or higher point, it gives you like 10% to 20% off of all future merchandise. And you also get my entire digital discography. So like a download of like, I think it's almost 3 gigabytes worth of music. It includes my solo stuff and Bop Alloy stuff. So all of the digital stuff for free and discounts on future physical merchandise. And if you do one of the higher tiers, I think like the 25 and 50 joint, and you stay on it for a certain point, there's certain merchandise that you will get sent to you for free. For no additional cost. So like I'm making SUBporter t-shirts for the diehards and stuff, and yeah, you know what I mean. So I appreciate y'all, man, and let's keep pushing.
Y'all too, man.
Yeah, for real.
Really
Yep.
do.
And for those of you who don't sign up for Patreon and ever want to make sure we don't miss anything that you're asking in the chat, you always have the option to do the super chat feature. And so that's another way that you can support whenever we're doing Substantial Sundays. All right. So on that note, man, we got to get ready to go. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, we got
Wendy.
you know, we got to get that theme music. But shout out to Malcolm Jackson, who made an appearance real quick.
Yes, sir.
And all that good stuff, man. And I appreciate y'all so much, man. Cash, appreciate y'all as well.
I really do, man. Yeah. To everybody that comes in and supports each and every Sunday. To listen to what we think about things. So you don't have to be here, you know what I'm saying?
Right,
but you are. So we appreciate all your support. Just keep following, do the Patreon thing or whatever, so you get us a lot more, man.
All right.
Yeah.
Y'all have a good one, man.
Yeah, peace.
We will see y'all soon.
We gotta duplicate that.
Yes, yes, we do. Hey, real quick, next week, our guest is the homie Kevin Earley, who goes by, his rapper name is Earley Baird. He is the son of a best-selling author who wrote a book about his son's like challenges and stuff, and there's literally a film being made about him. And he happens to be the homie that I went to college with. So he's coming through next week to talk about what he's working on, the music he got coming out, and all of that good stuff, and some of the great work he does around the country speaking on mental health. So that's next week. And of course, we're going to be clowning. I think Sherm is supposed to be back. We'll see if his schedule clears up.
I should write 16 bars dissing that dude just for not showing up today. I should come back full of energy. I mean, espressoed up. Just as soon as he sit down, just go with it.
Go with it. Like, come in sitting on the job. Tell you, nigga, you a slob.
Right, you know what I'm saying? Right.
All right, y'all. We out of here for real, man.
Y'all
have a good one. Y'all be safe out there. Let me get all this technical stuff together. All right. Yeah. Y'all have a good one, y'all. Hey.